We've done it! We've done it!" panted Thomas. "We've done it, hooray! We've done it, hooray!" chanted Annie and Clarabelle as they whooshed into the last station. Everyone was there to celebrate Thomas's victory, but they gave Bertie a big welcome too. "Well done, Thomas," said Bertie. "That was fun, but to beat you over that hill, I should have to grow wings and be an airplane." They were just puffing out of the quarry when, "Help! Wait for me!" A workman had been left behind. Ben waited as the man climbed quickly aboard. The twins left the quarry just in time. Which is now mended, but not unfortunately Bulgy and his ways. He never learned sense. He's a hen house now, and his lies can do no harm. The hens never listen to them anyway. Percy watched as Bulstrode was towed to the beach.
"There you are," said the workman. "Now you can just stay here. Children can play in you all day, and at long last, you'll be useful." When Percy got home, he had told
Caroline, "I have to attend my wife's birthday party and I cannot be late. Please give me a lift." "I'll try, sir." But Caroline didn't like going fast. "I'm hot. My engine will overheat." And it did. "Told you so," said Caroline sadly. "Bother, bother." Came to the rescue. And it wasn't too long before Cranky was upright again and clearing the wreckage. At last, all the engines were free. "Oh, thank you," said Gordon. "What would I have done without you?" "Well, I had to be rescued before I could help you. But I never thought it would be by a couple of Cranky was about to say bugs, but he quickly corrected himself. Small engines, thank you. I'll never be rude again. However, you two mites are in my way, so move over." "Pa," said Percy, "he's back to bugging us." "Don't move! You're still attached to Cranky." But it was too late. Cranky still looks down on the two little engines. But ever since that stormy night, he never...
said Champion. "Oh," murmured Daisy. "Why doesn't he run away?" "Go on, Daisy," said her driver. "He's harmless." "Yes," said Daisy unhappily. "You know he's harmless, and I know he's harmless. But does he know? Look at his horns. If I bumped into him, he might hurt them. The farmer wouldn't like that." Champion sniffed at Daisy. "Ugh," said Daisy, and that was that. Daisy did no more.
"Donald and Douglas, I hear that your work in the snow was good. You shall have a new coat of paint." The twins were surprised. "Thank ye, sir. But your names will be painted on you. We'll have no more mistakes." "Thank ye, sir. Does this mean that the both of us?" Sir Topham Hatt smiled. "It means..." But the rest of his speech was drowned in a delighted chorus of cheers and whistles. The twins were here to stay. "It's too late!" Duck groaned. He veered into a siding where a barber had set up shop. He was shaving a customer. The silly cars had knocked their conductor off his van and left him far behind after he had whistled the warning. But the cars didn't care. They were feeling very pleased with themselves. "Beg pardon, sir," gasped Duck. "Excuse my intrusion." "No, I won't," said the barber. "You've frightened my customers. I'll teach you," and he lathered Duck's face all over. Poor Duck. Thomas was helping to pull the cars away when Sir Topham Hatt arrived. "I'm ready," said Edward. "No good," grumbled Gordon. They pulled and pushed as hard as they could. "I can't do it! I can't do it! I can't do it!" puffed Gordon. "I will do it! I will do it! I will do it!" puffed Edward. Edward pushed and puffed and puffed and pushed as hard as ever he could. And almost before he realized it, Gordon found himself at the top of the hill. "I've done it! I've done it! I've done it!" he said proudly. He forgot all about kind Edward and didn't say thank you. Edward was left out of breath and far behind, but he was happy because he had been so helpful. At the next station, he found that the driver and fireman were very pleased with him.
I'll show him who's boss. At last, the workmen reached the level crossing. "What shall we do here?" "Tear it up, tarmac it," said George. So they did, but not properly, and George knew it. Later, Thomas was traveling home on the same line. He was pulling freight cars filled with vegetables. The signalman had forgotten to warn his driver about the crossing. "That's nice. We don't need to stop," said Thomas happily. "Yes, we do," called his driver. But it was too late. Next day, Percy told Gordon all about George. New station. Then there was trouble. As Gordon approached the new station, neither the driver nor fireman could apply his brakes. Something had jammed. The driver reduced steam, but Gordon was still going too fast. "Help me, please."
"I only swept the floor this morning," grumbled the conductor, but he still helped. Soon Percy's fire was burning well. He felt warm and comfortable again. Then he saw Harold. "Oh dear," thought Percy, "Harold's come to laugh at me." Something thudded onto Percy's boiler. "Ow!" exclaimed Percy. "He needn't throw things." "It's a parachute," laughed his driver. "Harold's dropping hot drinks for us." "Thank you, Harold," whistled Percy. "Good to be of service," replied Harold and buzzed away. The water lapped Percy's wheels.
Fog floated everywhere. "I can't see," cried Henry, nor could his driver. And when he could, it was too late. As soon as the tide was high enough, Henry was craned out of the water.
James heard a familiar buzzing. The bees were too cold to be cross, so they buzzed around the fireman, hoping he'd mend their hive. But he didn't understand, nor did his driver. So the bees turned to James. His boiler was nice and warm. Buzz off, hissed James. One bee burnt his foot. Ooh, ah, ah, ooh. The bee thought James had burnt him on purpose. So it stung James right back on the nose. Eee! Whistled James. He had had enough. So had his fireman and driver. Now, the driver braked hard. Toby stopped, still on the rails, but with his wheels treading the tightrope over the abyss. Mavis was horrified and quickly came to the rescue. Workmen anchored Toby with ropes while she pulled the freight cars away. Then she helped Toby to safety. "I'm sorry about the cars," said Mavis. "I can't think how you managed to stop them in time." "Oh, well," said Toby, "my driver told me about circus people who walk tightropes, but I just didn't fancy doing it myself." Later, Sir Topham had arrived. "A very smart piece of work," he said. "Mavis, you did well too, I hear."
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present the good luck package. Something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. All found by Percy and his crew. The engines whistled and everyone cheered. "Thank you, Thomas. And thank you, Percy," said the bride. "It's the best good luck package ever." And she kissed Percy. Thomas laughed as Percy blushed bright red.
Peter Sam puffed happily away, singing a little song. "I'm Peter Sam, I'm running this line. I'm Peter Sam, I'm running this line." What fun it all is, he thought, as he journeyed along the line. The coaches enjoyed themselves too. They were growing fond of Peter Sam. Every afternoon, they had to wait an hour at the station by the lake. The station has a little shop selling refreshments.
It's rolling along our line. "We'll stop here until Boulder passes by," said the driver. But Boulder was nowhere to be seen. Then, oh no, it's behind us! Just ahead, they saw a small junction. One line went uphill. Boulder thundered past. Meanwhile, Skarloey was making his way up to the quarry.
Thomas's wheels were clear, but still spun when he tried to move. Terence tugged and slipped and tugged, and at last dragged Thomas clear of the snow, ready for the journey home. Instead, one engine is as good as another. But Thomas didn't hear them. He collected all the stone from the quarry and set off back to the junction. Danger lay ahead. "Now for our plan," giggled the cars. "Go faster, go faster." They pushed Thomas over the switches. "Slow down," called Thomas's driver and applied the brakes. Poor Thomas stood dazed and surprised in a muddy pond as a toad eyed him suspiciously. "Bust my buffers," muttered Thomas. "The day started so well, too." Duck pulled away the cars, and Edward helped Thomas back to the junction. Suddenly, Thomas remembered the missing tar. He told Edward all about it.
Called Toby. We'll follow him on our line.
Reverend saved you, and you live at the vicarage now. Beep, beep, whistled Trevor. Now Trevor's home is in the vicarage orchard, and he sees Edward every day. His paint is spotless, and his brass shines like gold. Trevor likes his work, but his happiest day is the church fair. With a wooden seat bolted to his bunker, he chuffers round the orchard, giving rides to children. Long afterward, you'll see him shut his eyes, remember.
Gordon was looking forward to seeing Spencer. "Run out of water?" he teased. "Yes," snapped Spencer. "I must have a leaky tank." "Perhaps," smiled Gordon. "But we'd better hurry. Everyone is waiting." Gordon switched to Spencer's line and was coupled up. Then they set off. Them across the tracks. Just in time. Later, Sir Topham Hatt praised Emily.
"Well, John, you were a very brave engine."
"The bravest," chuffed Oliver.
"It gives me great pleasure to present you with 2 new coaches."
"Thank you, sir," replied Emily. "I'm sorry I took Annie and Clarabelle." "Anna?" "You can't catch us," laughed the freight cars. "Whee!" But there was trouble ahead. Duck had stopped at the crossing at the bottom of the hill. Arthur's driver applied the brakes, but it was too late. Squashed fruit flew everywhere. Arthur was upset. His spotless record was ruined. "Beep, beep! What a mess!" puffed Thomas. Sir Topham Hatt was very annoyed. "Sheep!" he exclaimed loudly. "I'll send Toby with the farmer immediately." The sheep were becoming noisier and noisier. "Please stop," groaned Murdoch. "I'd rather be back with the chatterbox engines." Just then, Toby chuffed into view. "Toby!" exclaimed Murdoch. "We're certainly glad to see you." Before long, the farmer and his dog went to work. And the sheep were soon safely back in their field. And Murdoch was on his way again. That evening, Murdoch parked between Harvey and Salty, but Murdoch...
"Thank you, Jack," said Alfie. Then the foreman shouted, "Oliver, move this rock!" I'll do it, cried Jack. Jack scooped a bucket full of rock. Stop, shouted his oiler. But he didn't stop. He was too eager to help. No, shouted Isabella. But it was too late. Oh no, he cried. Oops, Jack sputtered. Miss Jenny was glad Jack wasn't hurt, but she was disappointed. I'm Alfie. Jack and Alfie were working hard and having wonderful fun. Suddenly, a huge dump truck roared by. Max! Alfie cried. So that's Max, said Jack. Thomas was right. He is trouble. Look out, Jack! Cried Alfie. Max stopped just in time. Jack refused to move. Stop bullying, said Jack bravely. Can't you take a joke? Max grumbled and dieseled away. Thank you, Jack, said Alfie. Then the foreman shouted,